Watch out, Decepticons, because stealth mode has evolved! What's going on, everybody? Republic Cinema here, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Transformers Prime Changers Bumblebee, or B-127. Now, when this figure was officially revealed, he looked a little off. If you take a look, there are these egregious hollow gappages between his two legs. So yeah, that kind of discouraged some people when they saw those pictures, myself included. But when I got this figure in hand, I started to realize, hey, he's not all that bad. He is quite a fun and enjoyable action figure to mess around with, and he's only $19.99. Now a quick chat about the character that's going to be in Transformers 1. I believe he's going to be a little different than to what we're used to seeing in the live-action Transformers movies. As for the millionth time, he's going to be a different voice actor, but a voice actor that's pretty popular. I believe for B-127 here, he will be on the more comedic side than usual. I don't know if we'll see that slowly dwindle as time goes on, especially since this movie is going to touch on the Cybertronian War. And to be honest, to see B-127 go from this comedic character to a more serious and beaten down version would be quite heartbreaking. However, I don't think the comedic aspects of B-127 in the new Transformers movie will be completely gone, as, come on, it's Bumblebee. But anyways, now to take a look at this figure. Before we do so, let's take a quick look at the packaging. So starting off with the box art at the front, as you can see, is this nice CG rendition of B-127's alt mode, which does take inspiration to the Bumblebee movie alt mode, and the rest is all words, names, and logos. On the top is the Transformers 1 logo, accompanied by the main protagonist of the movie, and then you turn down to the bottom and it's all boring. On one side is again more of the main protagonist for Transformers 1, and on the other side is just B-127. And then finally, you spin to the back, you get a little bit more info on what you get inside the packaging, such as a chest removal, we'll get to that later, and on the bottom is a little boring. That being said, we can move on back to the figure. So starting off painting and sculpting, pretty good. I gotta appreciate this gold-ish, mustard-ish yellow for the paint, as well as some painted black and dark silver and dark gray. I also have to appreciate that the Autobot logo is right smack of the chest, and there is a little bit of light silver painted on the feet, I've noticed. And these blue markings for the car lights, and that head sculpt looks really nice. Also has painted silver on the face, although I kinda wish there was a way where they could do the battle mask gimmick, which has been kind of dead for quite some years. Would like to see that gimmick come back, but who knows when. Now for the kibble is just this one little backpack piece that tabs in nicely well. There are a little bit more hollow gaps when you turn to the back, especially on that part over there and the arms. I don't know if this necessarily counts as kibble, but it does look slightly off. And now quality on this figure, unlike Sentinel Prime, is alright. Certain joints are not too stiff, not too loose. Thankfully the arms don't swing back and forth loosely this time around. I guess the only thing relative to a disadvantage in quality would probably be these things untabbing, but even then, if such a thing were to happen, there would have to be an immense amount of force to tab that part off. So when messing around with this figure, the chances of the legs combusting seems highly unlikely. But again, that is just for my copy. I don't know if that's the same thing that implies with other people's copies. Let me know in the comments if such an issue exists. But anyways, let's move on to accessories. So starting off is this nice arm blade, or as B-127 refers to it as knife hands. They just simply plug it onto the left side of the arm. It cannot be done with the right side, since there are no tabs for this thing to tab in. That's why the right arm is designed to hold the arm cannon, as the arm cannon does not go on the left. And there you have B-127 fully equipped. However, according to the trailers, I believe B-127 had more than just one knife hand. I guess that has something to do with budget for this figure. There's actually two slots on the bottom of the sword, to which you could probably cheat your way and have that one tabbed in, which easily pops off. That's because that tab is used for transformation. But the sword also tabs in onto the arm cannon, which serves as a bayonet-ish. It's actually put in there for weapon storage. As when you're done having Bumblebee or B-127 hold his accessories, they could just be stored on the back, and that's pretty much the gist of the accessories. Now moving on to articulation, starting off ball joint at the head, which can allow the head to move up and down, and swivel, full rotation at the arm, bend Okay. Bend at the shoulder. Oh, and since there's plenty of joints over here, there is an unintentional butterfly joint for the arms. Elbow swivel, which is also on a ball joint. No wrist swivel, unfortunately. But hey, there is in fact a waist swivel. Legs can spread. Legs can move forward. Can move backwards. Knee swivel, bend at the knee. The foot can move up and down. Now there is a mushroom peg for the foot, which does appear to indicate that this foot can move from side to side, but it can barely do that for this figure, unfortunately. That's why in order for it to move a little better, you have to move the foot all the way up and then it'll show the foot rocking from side to side, just not too much. So yeah, that's kind of a thumbs down for the foot to rock from side to side. But that's pretty much it for articulation. Pretty basic, pretty simple. But I do like the implementation of the unintentional butterfly joint, which is a special treat, especially for a deluxe class scale figure. But now moving on to size comparison, there's a lot of bumblebees I want to showcase this guy with. Starting off B-127, B-127, Jeep B, Rusty B, Off-Road B, Mainline Off-Road B, Concept Camaro B, 2017 Camaro B, G1B, Studio Series TF1B, oh wait, that doesn't exist yet. Cliffjumper, Wheeljack, Brawn, RC, Sunstreaker, Ratchet, Ironhide. Moving on to some fellow Prime Changers, Orion Pax, Alpha Trion, recently reviewed Sentinel Prime. Lastly, here he is next to the concept art Bumblebee movie Megatron. And here he is next to the rest of the Prime Changers, which he comes out being a little size inaccurate, which is quite a trend for mainline deluxe bumblebees, where they just come out as being quite tall. And that's pretty cool. Why not? It's been a thing since 2007, believe it or not. Only the latest mainline deluxe bumblebees being a little smaller than those older Bayverse bumblebees, like from Transformers 1 to 3. It's only since 2014 with the Age of Extinction mainline, the deluxe scale kind of went a little down. But it appears to this day, Hasbro has made it their mission to preserve the tall scale for the mainline bumblebee. I don't see why not. Fine by me. But anyways, with all the Prime Changers we have right here, let me know in the comments which one you like the best. Oh, and on a side note, before we get into transformation, I just remembered one more gimmick that this guy comes with. I mean, technically, it's not necessarily a gimmick, it's just an interesting feature where you can remove this guy's chest piece, which reveals his T-Cog. That's pretty impressive, as none of the other figures do that. Maybe Orion Pax, but that's the matrix of leadership. Also on a side note, this is how he comes in the packaging. The little chest piece he comes with is packaged somewhere else. Now, interesting enough with this extra chest piece is that when you slide it in, it's kind of hard to pull it out. I just push it down so that way it can come out. But there have been reports of some people having to pry this thing out because of how stuck it is in there. At first I thought I had that situation with my copy, but I just figured out all I have to do is just push it a little downwards. However, I am unaware if that works with anyone else's copy, so be sure to let me know in the comments. With that being said, I believe it is time we move on to transformation, which is interesting and somewhat straightforward. As starting off, you may want to rotate the head, and then push this whole back assembly down, and as you push Bumblebee's head in, you'll notice that this hollow gap right here tabs onto that tab right there, and then gets swallowed up. So yeah, headless Bumblebee. For my stop motion animators out there, there's that in case you want to animate a gruesome death. But anyways, after that, this entire chest piece will open up and close in. Same thing with this little piece here. Now, before shifting the arms inwards, you will have to rotate the waist. And then after that, you could safely shift the arms downwards. Just make sure this arm is rotated before you do so. And then after that, you'll make sure that the shoulder closes in onto that tab. Same thing for the other side. And then after that, you'll make sure that the lower parts of the arms tab in together. And before we work on the legs, just make sure that you untab the back pack and then just leave it out like that. And then starting off with one of the legs, you'll move the foot upwards, untab this entire section, shift it forwards, make sure this hollow gap goes under the fingers, and then hopefully this panel will tab in onto that tab right there. Same process applies with the other side. And after that, you'll want to close the two legs together. And then lastly, make sure that slot lines up with these tabs. And then you'll just proceed to close everything in. and straighten the feet while you do that. Here we have B-127 in his alt mode. Now, as you can see, this is taking a huge inspiration from the B-127 alt mode from the Bumblebee movie, only this time around it's a little more on the cartoony side. 3D cartoon, excuse me, not 2D. And there is quite a lot of similarities, especially with the tires and of course the front of the car being a little sloped. However, this hollow gappage right here is completely different, as there wasn't anything like that with the Cybertronian B-127 from the Bumblebee movie, to which I see this as a good method of telling the two apart. Funny enough, you could actually untab the chest piece, so I guess it does look as if B-127 got shot in the front as he was driving away from the carnage, say in a certain battle in Cybertron. I do have to appreciate how exposed his T-Cog is. Let's fix that up, shall we? Now, weapon storage for the alt mode is pretty much the same as the robot mode, as it does tab onto the same panel that's used as the backpack. However, it is optional to place the gun facing forward and backwards as well for, rear defense. Now, is there any way to store the weapon on the bottom? Unfortunately not. Or at least not that I know of. Funny enough, you could actually have the weapon stored separately. Obviously, there is no reason to do such a thing, but I figured it was worth showcasing nonetheless. For a brief comparison, here he is next to the Bumblebee movie, B-127. As you can see, the two are completely different, yet a few ideas from the design of the Bumblebee movie B-127 alt mode was shared for this guy. The difference from the two, of course, is that one is live action and the other one is 3D animation. Let me know in the comments which one's better. And then for a brief comparison, here he is alongside some other Prime changers, that being Orion Pax, Alpha Trion, Sentinel Prime, and then lastly, here he is next to all of them. All except one, but we'll get to that in another review. For now, this is what is presented so far, and personally, I think these are really great options for mainline figures, just not enough. It seems as if Hasbro isn't going to do any more Prime Changers figures. I could be wrong on that. In case I am, be sure to let me know in the comments. But for all I know, these four and another figure I haven't reviewed yet is all that we're getting. No Elita, no D16, no Steve, not even Starscream, Soundwave, and Shockwave, which is quite a shame, because it would be pretty great to see those figures in the main line, let alone RC, Sunstreaker, Ratchet, and Ironhide, maybe even a Darkwing too. However, I guess that seems unlikely, and most of those figures that I just mentioned would probably have to be in the Studio series. Can't wait for those figures, actually, even though it's probably going to take about 4 years to complete the main cast and some extra side characters, kind of like with the Bumblebee movie. I hear they're taking it slow with the Studio series TF1 figures. But anyways, be sure to let me know in the comments which one out of the 4 alt modes over here is your favorite. And I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all I had to say for this guy. Overall, he's a pretty great Prime Changer. Dare I say my favorite out of all the Prime Changers. I most definitely recommend picking this figure up. That's unless the Studio Series 1 comes around. If you are looking to pick this figure up, unfortunately he is not available on Amazon for $19.99. But there is a strong chance you'll be able to find him at Walmart's, as I believe there is a whole peg dedicated to Prime Changers B-127s. Target, on the other hand, I'm not too sure about that one. Or at least currently, as Target already did have a batch of Transformers 1 Prime Changers stock. It's just some of it has sold out now, as it's been a month since their official release, so there's not too much to find, other than maybe Orion Pax and Alpha Trion. But now that Walmart has recently got a hold of a few Prime Changers, they of course do have a copy or two of the new B-127. So be on the lookout for him in case you're trying to look for him. Now, whenever the Studio Series B-127 for TF1 comes around, I sure hope he's a big improvement of the mainline, as come on, it's Studio Series, he has to. Just be sure to let me know in the comments if you guys are excited for the B-127 for the Studio Series. But anyways, if you like what you saw in this video, be sure to slam that like button, share this with your friends as well, turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss another upload. Let me know how I did in this video, and most importantly, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. See ya!